Crew Pros, your single source for high-quality, affordable home services. If you are remodeling, repairing, or replacing, Crew Pros are the professionals that can do the job no matter the size. If you are thinking of remodeling your kitchen or bath, needing a new HVAC system, plumbing repairs, flooring, or a complete roof replacement, call Crew Pros. Crew Pros, proud sponsor of the Grizz 901 podcast.
Memphis. Nothing but Memphis. Everywhere we go, it's Memphis. Memphis, Tennessee, the beautiful land in the world.
And I'm thankful for this guy who tweeted and said I don't have that fire in my eye no more. That game right there was for him. That's what I do. I prove people wrong each and every night, and that's for him right there.
Hi, this is Tom Izzo at Michigan State, and you're listening to Grizz 901.
What up, Grizz Nation, and welcome back to another episode of Grizz 901. I am your host, Daniel Greer, and we are presented by Zach Jaworski State Farm, where they treat you like family. This is a late night live audio from us. And we had to because, Taco Bell Run over there had to go on a late night bender. Nate,
If I disappear off camera, it's because of Taco Bell. Listen, Taco Bell, good for the soul, baby.
We're getting started a little bit late tonight, but it's Friday night hoops. Why not? Got to come in here after a big Grizzlies win. And you know what? Our guy, Black Lives Matter, the Grizz are back. And hey, listen, it was great to see a lot of really what took place tonight. It seemed like they got a little bit of their mojo, right? It seemed like they kind of figured things out. It seemed like they were happy. And that's really what I look at is when I see a team, I'm like, are they having fun? And usually the Grizzlies are always having fun. But the Grizzlies now look like they're having fun. So immediately, the Grizzlies win 128-107. What's your first thoughts coming out of the game?
Oh, baby. They did. They are back. I saw Chris Vernon tweeted I think I got my swagger back. Dude, they play like themselves, man. They play like themselves. It was one of those where they were trailing after the first quarter, which has been unideal as of late. When they get behind, and when they're neck and neck, it feels like they're the ones constantly trying to keep it close. After that first quarter, I was like, the Timberwolves are knocking down a bunch of threes. The Grizzlies need to defend the three better. In general, I was like, the Grizzlies are playing really well. Like, if the Timberwolves aren't hitting every three they shoot, then they're losing by a lot. And it just carried through the rest of the game. And then the energy was there on the defensive end, and they were locked in defensively. It was the only thing that's a shame is that one of those refs really hates Dylan Brooks because listen, he was fouling, but it was ticky-tack stuff they were calling on him. And so that was like the only negative other than not seeing Luke Kennard take those John Conchar threes. Other than that, beautiful. Thing of beauty. Thing of beauty.
Yeah, we're going to hit on that. We had the, what is it? The Jitty and the, whatever his name is. I'm drawing a blank.
David Roddy. Big
sorry.
body Roddy. The it factor Roddy.
Yeah,
shut up, Daniel.
All right, listen, we're going to have that debate a little bit later on. And so I know you're excited about that. I don't even think I told you that we're going to talk about that. But I do want to go over a little bit of the box score. The Timberwolves shot 40% from three tonight on 37 attempts. The Grizzlies shot 40% tonight as well, but only 25 attempts. And the thing that kind of stuck out to me was the two guys that normally just light it up. And that is Desmond Bane, 1 of 4. And then you go up here and you look at Anthony Edwards, 1 of 3 on 19 shots. 1 of 3. The Grizzlies did a very good job of running him off the line. That's really what I look at is they did a good job of closing out hard, which makes him go to the line, which honestly, he's really good. But when you have a guy that you're running him to, they called the Black Panther, I'm kind of feeling confident in it. And so that's really what they did tonight is they ran him off the line. And then they sent him into a little bit of the defense. The helping of the defense tonight was very good. Jaren was very good. That block that he had was absolutely just gorgeous. I think it was Brandon Clark that cut him under, and then he had to pull up. And then at that point, Jaren was just sitting there waiting. And the camera shot, was
a monster, dude.
It was
He's
awesome.
just a monster just emerging out of the abyss to Anthony Edwards. That was awesome. But yeah, I thought that was a great I'd say halftime adjustment, maybe mid-second quarter adjustment. Honestly, I thought the Grizzlies did a really good job closing out the first half doing this, but they did a really good job running those guys off the line pretty much from late second quarter on. The Timberwolves were super hot from three in the first half, but in the second half, they really calmed down. I thought it was an awesome adjustment by Jenkins and the whole coaching staff and team running those guys off the line, not letting them kill you like that. A little bit of overhelping thing, you know, when we do talk about the Roddy Conchar thing, I think Roddy is still got a lot of defensive work to do. He still overhelps and is a couple steps behind, but listen, in general, that's nitpicky stuff. The Grizzlies played their brand of basketball, and it showed. They played awesome.
They did. They played really well. They played free, as Black Lives Matter said in the chat. And honestly, come chat with us. That's what we want to do, is answer your questions. I talked to a guy that I consider probably one of the best guys that covers sports in Memphis, but mainly, you know, the Grizzlies, and Mark Giannotto today. And so we're going to get him to come by at some point after a game, just either whether he calls in or he can stop in if he's at home and he's able to catch video. If there's somebody else that you want us to bring on, we're going to do that. We're going to have, whether it's a 15-minute spot on these post-game shows, or if they're going to hang out with us the whole time, such as Sean Coleman did, go check out his trade stuff. He was very good. The trade deadline's over, but that was very good from Sean. We're going to have him on once a month now. And so Sean will be a monthly guy here. And so we had a conversation afterwards, and Sean's going to come on probably the first of the month to kind of go over some things and kind of see how things break down. We're going to be doing majority of the games from here on out. We have less than 30 games and then the playoffs. So we're going to be doing a lot of games. The only times we'll miss stuff is maybe a Saturday night, stuff we can't actually get to. But if you are a podcast subscriber, please hit us up on YouTube as well. We are live almost after every game, like I said. But I don't know if people know this, and I was just brought to my attention, so I'm going to go over it for like 20 seconds, okay? On YouTube, you know how you have YouTube mobile? All you have to do, and let's see if I can show you. Why not? Listen, we'll do this live. This will probably
could take much longer than expected.
Much longer than 20 seconds. All right. So look, you have our stuff, right? You just click on it, okay, and then we're gonna throw that up. All right. So if you're watching it, right, just push up, and it keeps it in the bottom, right? It keeps it down there, so you can still watch it, right? So I'm able to still watch it the whole time and listen to it if I want to. People had no idea how to do that, honestly.
Who is people?
I've talked to like 4 or 5 people. They said, well, you can't do that on YouTube because it always closes you out, right? If you're not listening in it. Huh?
Are they your seniors or your juniors?
They're my juniors. But
that's interesting.
Listen,
okay.
They had no idea that they were like, well, why? I just hate YouTube because you can't do anything else but be on YouTube. I'm like, actually, no, there's a different feature now. They're like, no, that's premium. I'm like, no, it's actually just regular YouTube. But anyway, that was way over 20 seconds. But that's why people didn't like YouTube at one point, and now YouTube does that. So just wanted to give that a shout out because that's, honestly, we get a lot of views from YouTube, but we just wanted to make sure we shared that. People want to go live with us. But let's go back to the game real quick. The Grizzlies dominated, honestly, inside. I think they said 72 paint points. I'm not looking at the team totals box score right now, but they absolutely dominated inside.
72, yeah, on Rudy Gobert's head. I put that out there. It's not always that the paint guy is the one getting these points scored on him, right? Sometimes it's when he's out. Dude, Aldama, Jaren, Ja, we're just putting it on his head, dude. Santi was giving Rudy the work tonight. It was awesome. It was awesome to watch. Yeah, it wasn't every point, obviously, on Rudy. A lot of those points were scored on Rudy in the paint tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Rudy sucks. Can we just is that an agreement?
He's perplexing. He's a perplexing guy. I really don't get it because it's one of those things where I see him be mega effective in some ways. Like with Steven Adams out, I was genuinely like, they might struggle on the boards tonight, but they didn't.
Yeah,
they win. They were winning the rebound battle. Did they end up winning it? Yeah, Grizzlies won by 9. Won the rebounding
30
battle by 9.
35 to 44. Wow.
Listen, he's really good at what he's really good at, but he sucks at everything else. And it's completely overshadows what he's good at, in my opinion.
Yeah. Listen, the team does a very good job of rebounding the ball. Everybody, even the bench guys, they all had 2 at least rebounds. The only person that had 1, the entire team, was Dylan Brooks. He had a bad night. Okay, we're not going to clown on Dylan Brooks. Not tonight. Okay, I'm going to let him get hit a little bit of his mojo back before I start clowning on him again. But right now, I'm going to leave him alone. He's just sucking. That's just plain and simple.
Well, what was crazy is like I said, he definitely had a couple of those fouls you just can't have, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing, but it was like, dude, there were some nitpicky fouls calling him tonight, and I thought he was playing really good defense, and offensively, he had hit a couple of shots, right? I mean, he was 2 for 4 when he went out. I thought he looked good. I hate that it looked like he was in a rhythm. I hate that he got booted, which we'll see. But anyways,
right.
Continue.
Yep, he will be fine. I'm not too worried about Dylan. You're talking about a guy that's learning to figure out exactly how he's going to fit on this team. Okay, and we're going to get into Luke Kennard a little bit later. We'll probably actually go into that next because I'm excited to talk about that, but more than the Jitty and whatever debate. What do you want?
I got 2 things about the Timberwolves.
My God, go ahead. These better be good. He better be good.
It pisses me off Kyle Anderson shooting 40% from 3 this year. You know how mad that made me when I heard that stat? I was like, I don't know what he's shooting. I was watching with my buddy. I'm like, he's shooting 30-something%. Like, he's shooting good. If he'd just been shooting 35% last year from 3, we'd have re-signed him. And then they go, Kyle Anderson shooting 44% from 3 this year. I was like, bro, what's going on? Is it just a Memphis curse where you couldn't hit him here? What's going on? That made me, I was infuriated. Number 2, did you know Wendell Moore plays for the Timberwolves?
I do know that.
I had no idea what happened to that dude. Completely forgot about him. I really liked him out of the draft and just completely forgot he even existed. So those were 2 things I wanted to talk on. And that's it. That's the only thing I want to say about the Timberwolves.
All right. Well, thankfully, I like both guys. So Kyle Anderson, he played well tonight. He probably played better, and that's what he does. He plays just good basketball, good team basketball. He's the guy that you can have on a championship team. I just don't know what he does and what he fits. You really have to kind of have good shooters around him and let him be the 4. And so him next to Rudy Gobert isn't bad. The problem is their shooting has not been good. Unfortunately, I'm looking at Mike Conley. I think he's donezo. And I hate saying that. I love Mike. I just think he's at this point in his career where he wants to facilitate, and he's not able to really just do enough offensively to be such a threat. He's going to hit his open threes, but he can't be a big threat, which they really need, especially losing whatever his name is. Deloading.
In theory, it makes sense. And I mean, if Karl-Anthony Towns still exists, I'm not positive that he does. But when he comes back, Conley is a pure facilitator at this point in his career. And it's one of those things where I love him. I think he's still awesome at that. But it's going to be all about being able to facilitate for those guys. And you want to say, well, when Karl-Anthony Towns comes back, we'll see. But Karl-Anthony Towns didn't fit well next to Rudy. And the 3 guys that are 3 main guys just don't work well together. So we'll see. I hope Conley averages 40 and 10 and loses every game to the Grizzlies. So
I agree. I'm down. I love Mike Conley. I hope he is a very good player for them, but I hope they suck. But one guy who's not sucking, like you said, was Kyle Anderson. Shout out to Rebecca Jackson. He is having a good season with them. Let's go ahead and go to your other one real quick, and that's Wendell Moore. He plays for the Timberwolves. I heard somebody say that Wendell Moore could be Brandon Clark for the Grizzlies. Wendell Moore could be for the Timberwolves. I thought that was a good take. He's a very good guy who can kind of do a little bit of everything. He's kind of a spark plug. And so Wendell Moore is very good. But one question, where did Wendell Moore go to college at?
Duke.
Well, there you go. Guess what? We're talking about Luke Kennard.
Duke Kennard.
Duke,
he's going to Duke.
So Luke Kennard, your immediate thoughts about him?
I love the move. I put this out there yesterday. I thought it was an underwhelming trade deadline for the Grizzlies. Obviously, a lot of things came out today as to why it's underwhelming, right? They were trying to make moves. I think everybody in the fan base wanted them to make, and they either weren't available at all or they were about to get fleeced. So I understand them not making those moves. This move in and of itself makes a ton of sense. You go and you get the only other guy that's shooting better on 500 plus 3-point attempts than Desmond Bane. So it's like you have the two best in the league on your team, and you really just needed that. That's really all you need is one more shooter to open up the floor. I love the move. Is it some over-the-top, huge, earth-shattering thing? No, but
Yeah.
and we'll talk about this in the trade deadline. I want to save a little bit for the trade deadline overall later.
Okay.
But for the Grizzlies, I thought it was a small move that can go a long way for them.
Okay.
I like it. I'm worried about defensive, obviously, defensively concerns, but dude, you need guys who are going to knock down open threes, and then just all of our guards get blown by. Yeah. Nothing's going to change on that end.
That's what I was going to say. Like, what's the difference of having John Conchar, David Roddy, Zaire Williams? There's no difference in him and Luke Kennard. Like, they're all the same. They're going to get beat.
They're all getting dusted, man.
They're all getting dusted. But I will say that something I'm interested in seeing is the rotations of exactly how they're intermingled, for the simple fact that Desmond Bane and Luke Kennard on the floor at the same time with John Morant could be absolutely deadly. And so I think that's going to be a lineup that you're going to see is Kennard with Bane and Ja. And then you're going to see Jaren. You might actually go even smaller and go with Dylan. You even could go with Brandon Clark, but I think Dylan there, and you can put him as the 4, especially if the other team is not just huge. That could be a really good team because you have your 2 defensive players on the team that you really just trust, but also you have a guy who's a creator. You have 2 guys who they can kick it out to at any moment. You can't overhelp in that lineup like that. Plus, you have somebody like Jaren who you can just throw it to the hand. I think Jaren is a crazy good player right now. Is finding his own. But what I want to see is a lot of times that Bane goes out, right? And Bane's going out, and so you're going to have somebody that can come in and Luke Kennard and immediately jump into that spot. I think that's very important for this, and I think that you're going to really love to see. I don't know. I think it's going to be awesome to see whenever Bane goes off and you can bring on Luke, so you're not really missing much shooting.
Well, what I'm actually super interested to see is if they put Kennard and Bane minutes together, which, again, defensively seems like it's a bad idea, but it's like it's not any worse than who you're pairing them with in general. And also, I think that could be huge for Bane. I think Bane, it's so hard for Bane. You don't ever see Bane get standstill shots hardly anymore, right? He's just not standstill wide open. He's either launching them from the logo or he's coming off these screens running. If you can get Kennard in there where it's another shooter where people cannot come off of him, that can open up so many looks for Bane that are like looks he was getting last year, his rookie season, where it's, hey, I just get to shoot an open 3, right? And to Bane's credit, he's gotten awesome at those logo threes. He's gotten awesome at the threes off the screens. He got robbed of one by his big toe today on that, what could have been a 4-point play. But I'm very interested to see if they try and pair those minutes together and maybe even let Kennard do some more ball handling and rotations with that lineup just to see what they can do, because it'd be massive for Bane to be able to do that. And obviously Kennard, he's a definition of a sniper, right? That's the way Bane is a scorer. Kennard can be a scorer, but Kennard himself is like just got his sliver of space and he drained it, right? He's sort of like Doug McDermott whenever he plays the Grizzlies, and no one else but the Grizzlies he kills. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited for it. I think it's a great move. Obviously, you'd love to have a Mikal Bridges OG, but I'm super happy with Luke Kennard, man.
Speaking of somebody who's killing it right now, is we're going to bring in our guy, EJ, Spaces Grizzlies, Grindhouse Grizzlies. What's up, EJ? How are you, man?
What's good, man? Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you good, man. We can hear you good.
Okay. All right. I didn't know. But yeah, I'm good, man. Just got off the space and everything. Glad to join in. I don't get this opportunity very much, but I am gonna start being off more. So if you need me around, I'll be here. But yeah, where we at? Y'all talking about Luke Kennard, the addition? Is that where
Yeah,
we're
we're
at?
talking about
I
Luke.
was gonna say, if you send me that trucker hat, you can just take my spot full time. I need that hat, man.
Yeah, yeah, big shout out to Keith, man. Keith Parrish, fast break. Went out to the watch party last week against the Cleveland Cavaliers and got the trucker hat. I was actually at this game where they gave them out, but I missed the giveaway. So yeah, I needed this one.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah, let's go into Luke a little bit, and we'll talk about him for a second. So, what's your thoughts on the trade in general? Because I will say, and I'm about to call you out, EJ, you were absolutely just setting Grizzlies, the franchise, everybody in the front office, everybody that might have mentioned the Grizzlies. You were setting them on fire. I think it was an absolute I don't know what you had. Did you have a torch? I'm not sure what you used, but you were murdering everybody. So how do you feel now about the trade deadline?
Yeah, man. As we preach the power of positivity around, I also like to apply a little pressure. As the Brandon the hype man came up the other night. He told me the guy. Some people listen around, they catch the riff of the energy and everything. So my idea was, yeah, let's apply a little pressure here. But these guys were working behind the scenes once again, working in the dark, as John Morant would say, and they fooled me, and I'm completely fine with that. I always tell the people on the spaces, I could be right, I could be wrong. I never care as long as it's the betterment of the team. And Zach Kleiman did his due diligence, as he said. He moved swiftly on a couple of guys. It didn't work out. Even being able to switch his focus over to a Mikal Bridges so quickly and try to try to get him in. That even speaks volumes to me. So I'm fine with where we're at. I'm glad that Zach Kleiman did what he did, and we'll ride it out to this summer. It's going to take our top three guys just to improve, continue to get better, and we can go far, far with this team for sure.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think they made a big play in getting somebody that can really open the floor, and I think that's one of the biggest things is somebody who can be a knockdown shooter, but also somebody that can get along with the team. The chemistry is big, the culture is big, and I think it's going to be very important for this team going forward. But I'm excited about Luke. I think mostly everybody is about Luke because he is a good shooter. He's shooting 50% from the short corner. And so I think going forward, we're going to see a big jump out of this Grizzlies team because I think you have one more guy that can knock down some shots. Anybody that's not taking shots and absolutely just cold as ice right now, like Dylan Brooks and John Conchar, it's absolutely going to be a blessing, I promise. But go ahead.
Dylan, 50% from the floor tonight, easy.
He shot 0
4 shots in 14 minutes, but hey, we'll take it.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the Roddy and G debate. I know you want to talk about it a little bit, Nate, but let's go ahead and bring it. Let's let EJ lead us off on this one, okay? David Roddy and you have Jitty, okay? Both of those guys are going to be up for minutes because there's going to be a 10th spot in a sense on this team because you have the 5 starters once Steve-O comes back, right? But then you're going to have Tyus, Luke, Brandon Clark, and Satya Adama. There's nobody going to take those guys and overstep those guys, okay? Those are the 4 plus the 5 they're starting. Obviously, Xavier Tillman's starting right now, but he is he's your emergency guy. So you have a chance, and you can bring Zaire into this. Who are you going with in the 10th spot if you feel comfortable with the regular season team? You're rolling them out there. You have 10-man lineup. Who are you going with?
Yeah, I think David Roddy is showing it once again. Even in his spot minutes, he has shown time and time again that he wants it. So I think I'm settled in with David Roddy. Let Z go ahead and work in the dark with the hustle, and let him just kind of go back through the summer league, and just hopefully he comes back next season healthy and ready to rock and roll, and everything like that. So yeah, if I had to give it to anybody to that 10th spot, which more than likely is the 3 guard off the bench, I'm gonna have to go with David Roddy. I think he's worked for it, he's earned it, even in the very few spot minutes that he has gotten. John Conchar came into the season, with some expectations, especially from you, Mr. Daniel. And he produced those. Like he really did. He gave us great minutes. While Jaren Jackson Jr. was out, while Desmond Bain had got banged up there for a second and everything, and he started out hot, but it started all on us. And at this point, I'm just ready to go ahead and move toward the future a little bit, and I think David Roddy is going to fit that future timeline that the front office wants. So yeah, I'm all for David Roddy. Kind of filling that 10th spot, but I think we just need to go ahead and trip him down to 9 by the playoffs.
Wow. What say you, Luke? Luke, calling you Luke now. What's up, Nate? What do you say?
I'm not nearly as handsome as that fella. I tend to say, I think it should be Roddy. I don't think it will be. I think it'll be Conchar, or I think they'll give those minutes to Tillman, and they'll find a way to stack Tillman in there. And let's be clear, that's the thing, is like if you're looking to fill in a guard spot, obviously that makes sense. They love Tillman, and he's been killing.
He's not going to play. He's not going to play.
Well, and that's why I wanted to ask you about is, does it make sense to do a 3-4-5 of Santi, Brandon, Tillman? Because I don't think it does.
No, that won't happen. The only reason he's playing, the only reason he's starting is because Taylor loves to have his rotations, because it's not about right now. He doesn't care about these regular season games. He doesn't. People don't understand that. Taylor Jenkins is a guy who is thinking about this way ahead of time. The reason they'll start somebody over Tyus a lot of times, but Tyus obviously is now, because he's been so long in this league, he's starting when Jaw's out. But other players, the same reason. The same reason they're starting Conchar over whoever, because they're trying to keep the rotations the same, so they all get, I guess, familiar with each other. Cool. Xavier Tillman is the emergency backup. It is what it is.
So we're on the same page of what that should be.
Yes.
Right. Because Tillman has killed it. Right. I think Tillman's been amazing in these minutes that he's had to play. Love it. I don't think he should be in the rotation when Steve-O is back. I don't think it makes any sense for the team. It should be Roddy.
It should
be Roddy. Because Conchar, I thought the past 2 games actually, and I said this, and I give kudos where it's due, despite what Swing Pass Sports wants to come and say crazy to me. I like Jitty. I think that Jitty has been actually played really well the past couple of games. But, bro, why do we have these guys in there? So when they catch it on the outside, they can get a bucket. Everything on the offensive end, David Roddy does better than John Conchar. He has better defensive talent than John Conchar. You just can't trust him because he doesn't have the veteran presence that John Conchar has. Right? Yeah. Jitty's smart. He's always in the right place. He always makes the right move. He always makes the right play. Dude, Roddy's got it, man. Roddy has got it, and the dude is a bucket. As soon as the game slows down completely for him, it's going to be curtains, dude. The dude can play. The dude can knock down the corner 3. You saw him create a jumper tonight, and he does that. He does that every time he gets minutes.
Yeah.
It should be Roddy, man. Every time he's on the court, I talk myself out of Roddy when he's getting DNPs. And then every time he gets on the court, I'm like, oh, yeah, this is why I think I'm an idiot whenever you come back on the court, because you're getting buckets left and right. You're a freaking huge dude. He's the only dude that has a Dillon type of body that can play with these dudes and be physical on the defensive end. Even though he did get cooked tonight. He was getting cooked tonight defensively. But outside of that, man, listen, like, at the end of the day, if you get to the playoffs and someone knock down a shot, and I want John Conchar or David Roddy in there, I want David Roddy. I think Roddy, I believe in more to make the shot. And I just did, I put this out there, but since January 1st, Conchar shooting under 30% from 3. And then Roddy's last 10, which is January 5th, he's shooting 47% from three. So it's like, dude, I don't know.
Hold on. What kind of splits?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
How many?
Roddy's shooting at a higher volume. Roddy is shooting at a higher volume than Conchar in that. I don't remember the exact numbers. It's something like 51 attempts from Roddy, and it was something around 20-ish attempts, I think, from Conchar.
I did don't worry. I will find it. We don't believe you. You're not good at counting.
I double counted because I am bad at counting.
That's damn
Listen, he's
impressive.
not shooting 6-7 attempts per game, but he's at a higher volume than Conchar, shooting 47% over his last 10. So listen, if you're going to shoot like that, then I don't know what we're doing, right? It's what we want everybody else to come in and do. So,
and you're right, though, man.
Defense,
like the shooting aspect. You know, I was at the Bulls game on Tuesday, and you know, everybody talks about the Dylan boos. To be real, I mean, 10 fans out of 30,000. Let's be honest. Like, come on, man. But it was bad, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the shooting was horrible. It was downright disrespectful to even sit there and watch it. But yeah, if we got guys that just go out there and just simply put the ball in the basket, man, and I think we'll be okay. You know, on the space and everything, a lot of people like to bring up the mismatches. We just got to utilize those a lot more. We have more mismatches than we think we have. David Roddy is one of those mismatches that we do have, especially offensively. So yeah, if we can get that guy just going downhill toward the basket, you know, 47% is amazing, or whatever you just said with the 3-point percentage over the last 10 games. But we know that's not going to hold up. So yeah, just continue to use these mismatches inside, whether it's off the dribble or just straight up post work, and I think we can win a lot more games, and everybody can get off of Jenkins' back.
Yeah. Well, I will say that since the turn of the calendar, so January 1st, David Roddy has taken 23 3-pointers. He's hit 9, so 9 of 23, 39%. And so it's not atrocious. It's not terrible. It's fine. I like that. I like how you left out the 4 attempts that he had. So you went and got those.
I did field goal attempts instead of 3-point attempts.
What an idiot. Okay, so we're
still
making sure we're correct. Something I will say, though, on Dylan Brooks, the reason he was booed, and I said this in the spaces a couple times, listen to these numbers real quick, and we're going to move on from this debate. We're going to move on from Dylan Brooks, I promise you. But in February, he is 2 of 13 from 3 for 15%. In January, he was 16 of 73 for 21%. That's a turn of the calendar this year, 18 of 86 for 20%. That's why he's getting booed. When you're chunking up a bunch of shots like that and you're shooting 20% from 3, that's why you get booed. It has nothing to do with the Grizzlies not being good fans or anything. Bro, figure it out. Change something up. Take less shots. Go get to the rim. That's just part of it. And so that's what I'll say about the Dylan Brooks stuff. I don't care. Okay, I'll support Dylan, especially since he's on the team. But I will say that Dylan has to figure himself out. Whatever and however he can, he's need to figure it out. So moving on from Dylan real fast. And so we'll get around to the trades around the league. But before that, I want to get to our presenting sponsor, and that is Zach Jaworski State Farm. Make sure you give them a call. They can save you money, and especially if you're here locally, go hit them up. You can call them at 901-794-3691 at zachinsuresmemphis.com. And that is 901-794-3691. And you can get a free quote at zachinsuresmemphis.com. I promise you, all you have to do, give them a call. They're in East Memphis as well as Collierville. Let them know the Grizz 901 team sent you, and they will save you money, because you got to have insurance at this point in life. You know, if not, then you know what? Maybe you're just playing life a little bit dangerously, more dangerous than I am. My wife makes me, so I kind of have to. We'll blame it on that. All right, let's get into the trades around the league. I know it's going to be a lot of conversation about that. EJ, thank you for hanging out with us so far. EJ is over at Spaces Grizzlies. So after every game, him and his team are doing a great job there. Make sure you go check them out because there's a lot of crazy talk. It's so much fun though. If you can deal with some of the craziness, it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Go check it out. EJ Dorn's a tight ship over there. He does a good job. So let's go ahead and get into a little bit of the trades around the league. Nate, I know you're over there crunching the numbers of David Roddy against Jitty, but we're going to go ahead and go straight to you. What's your favorite trade that you like personally as a true NBA fan? What'd you like the most?
Luke Kennard now. I mean, I don't know if there's any one trade that just blew me away. Obviously, the biggest one's the Kevin Durant to Phoenix one, right? That's the biggest trade. I thought of everyone. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. I thought that as far as who had the best deadline, because I as far as specific trades go, I don't know if there's one that super stands out. The best deadline was the Lakers. I thought the Lakers, which, if we're being honest, it would have been hard for them to have a bad deadline. Oh, if they'd have just stood still, that's a bad deadline. Like all they had to do was change something, and they did. So it was going to be easy for it to look like a good deadline. But I thought they surrounded LeBron, AD, all those guys with the right kind of role players, right? You're going to have the issues with D'Lo's never tend to play well with others. Yeah. That's going to be something, and you've only got 20-something games to get that working. But in theory, they had the best deadline, in my opinion. But the biggest move, again, obviously, was Kevin Durant, which I thought was a good move, but we can get into that a little bit more later of my thoughts around it.
All right. EJ, favorite move?
I'm kind of with Nate, man. I think the Lakers did, I don't know how they stole the league like that in a way. To be able to get pretty much three starters out of that roster that they had, and limited picks. Yeah, that they definitely won the trade deadline to me. Yes, getting Kevin Durant is the biggest one, but yeah, to be able to turn Westbrook into three starters, and then even a week or two before with the Ruri pickup, that's amazing from the Lakers. I don't know how they did it. I still think it's a little help from the league. We're gonna have to investigate that a little bit. Hopefully, Reddit can dig up some dirt like they did with Jaren Jackson Jr. But yeah, shout out to the Lakers though. Too bad they couldn't do it last year, so we could get us a better draft pick. Shout out Jalen Duren, by the way, man. That dude dominated tonight.
Yeah. Memphis get Jalen Duren. He absolutely just dominated the Spurs. It was beautiful. There's going to be a lot that happens in the buyout market, and I would imagine that the Lakers are going to get a little bit more help, probably in that market. But the fact that they actually were able to pull off that trade was amazing. And honestly, you get some key guys around, some top end talent. They also had to figure out things between AD and LeBron. I imagine it's probably not too bad. But one thing I want to bring up, and this is, and it's almost comical to me, and I don't know if it's going to happen, but this is what I want to happen. Okay. Russell Westbrook just left LA. If he goes somewhere in a buyout, somehow, some way, I don't know where he goes that he actually has a chance to win a championship. And so I don't know what's going through his mind. If he wants to actually get a buyout, right, and go to a team that's a contending team, or can he stick it to LeBron? Right now, the Utah Jazz are 28-29. There's potential and there's talks that he might actually stay there in Utah. Is it because he wants to will them into making one of the top 10 spots? Because then it makes it harder for LA to even get in there. And if they do, there's a chance that they actually might play in the first play-in game, and he might have a chance on the back of Russell Westbrook and Lauri Markkanen to put out the Lakers. That is the best television, and that's what I want. Please, Russell, go to Utah and put out the Lakers. That's what I want.
The pettiness would be incredible. The pettiness would be amazing. It's like what Joe Tsai saying he's not going to send Kyrie to the Lakers because that's where he wanted to go. Like the pettiness is a thing of beauty. But
why couldn't he do that with KD?
Dude, I know. I don't want to talk about that part of it. But I mean, it's if we're being serious, It's hard for me to see Russell doing that to be petty. It's not the worst fit in the world for him being there.
It's not.
Though.
That's a great fit.
It's really not being in Utah. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he gets bought out and then goes to the Clippers. Is still most likely in my mind.
Doesn't make sense. Anything else that was surprising around the league that you saw that might have just kind of, it was just like, what are they doing?
Toronto.
I mean, this Portland situation is getting interesting. You know, with everything going on, you really hate to see if players is getting treated like that with some of the reports that's coming out. But yeah, that's going to be a sticky one because that was a 4-team trade. And a lot of picks being thrown around and players being shuffled. And also, if it doesn't go through, the Warriors are stuck in cap hell after that. So that's a very interesting one, in my opinion.
You think that's a chance that they say, listen, because they have to decide that by tomorrow, I believe. The Warriors say, listen, we can go ahead and just approve this trade, so we can save like, what is it, $100 million? I think that's what the luxury tax is. Like, I think
what a mess.
It would just be funny to me if they just went ahead and just said, you know what, we don't really care. I don't even care if he plays. We just want to figure out a way to not have to pay $100 million or whatever that number is. That would be comical. But if
after
not,
what's already a debacle, you're already going to get a guy that you let go because you didn't want to pay him. Somebody else paid him. Now you're taking on the money he's getting, and you gave up picks to get him, and the number 2 pick in the draft. Like, dude, it's a complete debacle of a situation. No matter what, that's hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, and I'm excited about this second half of the season, and we're gonna get out here and give some game predictions in a second. But I am excited about really what's going to happen, because the Grizzlies have a really good chance to be a good team in the second half. The All-Star break is just right around the corner, right? Next weekend, we're going to have the All-Star game. Ja Morant is now a starter for one of the teams. We're also going to have a live draft. I don't even know if I've told you this or not, Nate, but next, we're doing a podcast Wednesday after the Jazz game. We're doing a live draft, and you get to pick your own NBA All-Star teams. And it's going to have Nate up against Ryan. We're going to do this live. They're going to pick their teams, and I'm going to break it down with a beautiful, beautiful artwork. And I'm going to figure out how people can choose on a poll on the Grizz League at Grizz_lead, and let the people decide who has the better team. We're going to let the people. We're going to put something on it. You know what I want to put on it is this, but I'm not sure if anybody's scared enough. But if y'all aren't scared, I have the 1-chip challenge. Whatever the poll says. So we'll see. We'll see if Nate or Ryan wants to take me up on that. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
I'm busy.
Oh, yeah. You can't do it. You had the indigestion issues, but
that'll probably be true. But moving along.
All right. Let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. EJ, thank you for joining us, but we do have the game predictions. Let's go ahead. What do you have to talk about?
That's it for the trade deadline? We're done for the trade deadline?
Yeah, what do you want to talk about?
I had a whole thing on. I had a whole spiel.
Well, go ahead there, spiel guy. What are you, Nate
I want to get
Spielberg?
Gross. I wish I could mute you. No. I'm not sure if this resonates true with you guys. I don't think the needle moved much in the West after the trade deadline. I thought the KD move was a splash move. Those guys are one injury away from disaster. And I don't know if you guys listened to Vernon or All the Smoke, but Vernon was talking about All the Hope today, where I don't know if it was Steven Jackson or Matt Barnes came on and said they've heard that KD's knee is worse than what people were letting on it was.
Wow.
If that's the case, and they just gave up Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, those are two key contributors that KD covers up a lot of you missing. If they're not there, if he's not there, those are two massive pieces you have to replace. By the way, you got to replace him even with KD gone. He doesn't cover up everything they did for you. That's a big issue. So the Suns, if they have KD, I think they are the clear favorites to win the West. If you're a betting man,
yeah,
they're one injury away from disaster. The Lakers had an awesome deadline. They were mid as hell. Dude, that team sucks. They could still be mid. Even if all that goes perfectly well for them, there's nothing I'm like, oh, it's a huge over-the-top move. Is they sucked so much, it was like, how could they not get better? Everyone else in the West made mild improvements. Denver got Thomas Bryant. Mild improvement for them. The Warriors brought back Gary Payton, asterisk, mild improvement. There's all kinds of stuff that were small improvements, but nothing was like out of this world. I just don't think the needles move that much. I still think it's Suns if KD's good, Nuggets, Grizzlies. Then you got the Warriors that could come on at any point. I guess the Clippers, if we still are going to play the Kawhi and Paul George could be healthy thing. I just don't think the needles move that much. So I don't think the Grizzlies are in any worse position. I think they're in a much better position than before. But I want to get your thoughts. I just don't think the needle moved. I don't.
Yeah, I like that. The thing is I look at the defense on what I see, and honestly, the Lakers don't really worry me too much. I think they're good. I think they can beat probably any team. But when we talk about a 5 or 7 game series, I think their works are going to show in a series. 1 game set, I think they're fine. I think they could probably do well in the play-in. That's when you get to the Grizzlies part is who's going to be the 7 that then plays the Grizzlies. I don't see how the Lakers can get up that high as currently constructed, even if they have these guys. I still think they're going to still have issues. So them getting all the way up to where they can get up to the 7 just doesn't make sense. I think the Grizzlies are going to miss them for the most part. But if you talk about the Phoenix Suns, Chris Paul isn't guarding Ja Morant. Torrey Craig isn't guarding Ja Morant. TJ Warren isn't guarding Ja Morant. DeAndre Ayton is not going to contest at the rim against Ja Morant. They have no answer for Ja. Zero. And so that's what I look at. I think Ja's going to be a problem for that team. And then you talk about Steve-O, who pretty much eliminates DeAndre Ayton when they have the big guy there. I think really it's all about Booker and KD just dominate enough. And at that point, you're talking about 2 guys having to put up 30 to 40 each to really have to carry them. I don't know if they have it. But as long as they're wings, they're people who are, they're bench players, they're not just throwing haymakers and flamethrowers from outside because we're over helping on KD and Booker. I think we have I really do think we match up well. We match up well against a lot of teams. The only teams we really don't match up well is Denver, and I think that's an issue in itself. But besides that, nobody really scares me. I think we're fine in the West. We don't tell anybody. EJ, what's your thoughts on that, man?
No, I have to agree, man. Of course, the Suns was the team to look at as the big needle mover. But if you look around the 4 players, they're kind of the same team they were before it. So I'm not too big there. And we might not even see those guys. So that's another thing. We don't see them for the rest of the regular season, so we won't even know how we would match up against them. So, once again, like y'all said, they don't really have anybody that can guard Ja Morant. Jaren Jackson Jr. is still a physical mismatch against those guys. Steven Adams would dominate and things like that. So y'all are right. I don't see too many. And for the rest of the Western Conference, yes, the Lakers once again had a pretty impressive move and everything, but it's going to be hard for them to get up to 7 if we were to stay at 2. I still think we have the chance at the 1 seed. I still don't really look at it too hard. As long as we get home court advantage first 2 rounds, I think we're straight. And Denver, I do like that Denver move. I really do. The Thomas Bryant pickup, I think that is something that's going to be a little tough for us because we don't have that backup big, a true backup big. So that is going to kind of cause a little trouble here and there. But that's the teams I'm more worried about. Those teams that's going to slow us down, half court offensively. Phoenix is not one of those teams that's going to slow us down. They don't have the defense for it. But the Mavericks, in a way, even though they did lose a big portion of their defense as well. I think Jason Kidd can scheme some things up to still try to make us a half court team. Denver is going to try to make us a half court team, and probably like somebody like a Portland if they were able to get in there somehow. But yeah, those are the only ones I'm worried about. Slowing us down, making us half court, and our guys just trying to figure it out. But as far as the moves, yes, Phoenix has the biggest needle mover in a way, and like I said earlier with the Lakers, but not too much to just push us out the way.
Real quick, Nate, let's go back to you, and then we'll wrap up on this one. Mavericks, they get Kyrie, right, and they have Luka. Luka's out for a good bit. I'm not sure how much longer he's going to be. It's probably after the All-Star break. He can probably make a full return. But Luka and Kyrie together, are you interested in it? Do you think that is even worse for the Grizzlies? Because the Mavericks, because they do play so slow, even though I feel like the Grizzlies play really well against Kyrie, especially Ja. What's your thoughts on that move just in particular?
I mean, I'm interested in it. I think Luka is supposed to come back the game before the All-Star break. Is my audio terrible?
You're just popping.
I tried to fix
You're
it.
Popping.
I'll do this right here.
You're good. We have like 4 minutes.
I'm interested in it because you got two of the best offensive players in the association on that team now, but it's fit wise. It's all that is hey, we're going to get these two dudes who are unbelievably talented and put them on the same team and hope it works out because there's no fit there, right? And they both are ball dominant. Kyrie can be a little bit off ball, but those two dudes just don't. I don't think either one of them just hates anybody. I don't think they play well with others. Same thing. It just doesn't. Yeah. Sort of same thing as D'Lo. They don't mesh with guys they go play with. It just doesn't seem to work out, right? So I don't know. I'm very interested. I don't love it. But listen, at the end of the day, if it somehow works, they got two of the best scorers to play the game in a playoff matchup. They're dangerous for sure, but for sure, it also could implode at any moment.
Yeah, they could find somehow Kyrie can walk down the street and just get offended, and then it just breaks loose. EJ, wrap us up on the Kyrie in Dallas.
Yeah, as Luke stated, high power offensively. They like to want, Luka likes to find his mismatch constantly. Yeah. And I think Kyrie does too. So they're just going to be a hunting mismatch team with those two guys. And it's going to be, go out there and kill your mismatches. I think that's all it's going to be from them. So if you can just limit that in a way, you can beat them. But I do think that they, Kyrie has a bigger plan. KD has a bigger plan. I do think that, Kyrie might walk this summer or whatever, sign and trade, try to get Chris Paul, try to get DeAndre Ayton. That was kind of talked about around the trade deadline too. And then Kyrie ends up in Phoenix with KD again. So it's going to be interesting. Those guys, once these Stephs, LeBrons, and KD washes out the league, everybody knows this will be Grizzlies basketball time. So, yeah, it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be a fun ride till then.
All right, real quick, let's get out of here in about a minute or two. But, Nate, let's go to you first. Game predictions. At Celtics, 1 o'clock, Super Bowl. The big game, Sunday. I don't know which one we can say without getting sued, but it's on ABC, 1 o'clock Central tip. What's your thoughts on the game against the Celtics?
I think it'll be – I want to say it'll be telling on if the Grizzlies really got their swag back, but it's a noon game on Super Bowl Sunday. It's a little bit weird. I do think they need to have a good showing. I do think they need to come out and play well for their own sake, not for the national narrative, not for what the media is going to say. I think they need to come out against a awesome team, the number one team in the association, and have a good showing. Not necessarily win, but they need to have that game competitive and have the Celtics on the ropes, right? And so, not because I don't think they can win. I think they, at their best, can compete with anybody. But I just want to see them push the Celtics to the very edge, and it'd be a competitive game. And if so, I think they go in and they beat the Jazz at home going into the break. But I'm pretty happy. Like I said, I thought they needed to win of these 4 games before the All-Star break, they already won 2 of them, and I think they're going to win 3 of them. I think
Wow.
they'll split these next 2. So, listen, I think the Grizzlies look like themselves tonight, and thought the game before they started to look like themselves. So, just keep the momentum, go play a really good game against the Celtics, come out with their heads held high, no matter what goes on.
Cool. EJ?
Yeah, man. I think this is one of those games that got circled. This is one of those circle games for the Grizzlies. I think of course the Christmas Day game was one of those games for sure, and this is the next one. And as John Morant said, with of course the Finding the West comments, the Celtics was brought up, and I think it's going to be a business game, though. These guys, it's more than just coming in locked in. I think it's going to be a business trip for these guys. So that's going to be huge to look at. I'm sure we're going to see some Luke Kennard, maybe. I'm not sure how that's going to work out. But hopefully it's nothing too confusing to where it could cost us the game. But yeah, I honestly think we're going to go in there focused, business trip type mentality, and try to go in there and kind of not just win the game, but kind of lay it on them a little bit. So that's what I'm looking forward to from these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. The Grizzlies have had a decent stretch here where they played Tuesday and they were at home, and then now they're playing Friday tonight as we're recording this. So that 2 days off. Then they have a quick trip up to Boston, right, with a day of rest. You do have travel. But then again, they don't play again till Wednesday. And then right after that game, you have the you immediately go into the All-Star break. And so I really do think that the Grizzlies are set up right now where they're locked in at this point because they know that they struggled. They know they got past the trade deadline. I think they're going to be locked in. Just like EJ said, I think this is going to be a business trip for them because there's no Jaylen Brown. You know what you're getting in a team. I think they can, honestly kind of be a measuring stick game and find out how good are we? How good is our bench? Does everybody show up? There's 2 games that day. Nobody is watching the other game. I think it's Pistons and somebody else. It's a 1:00 game on ABC. People are already getting together for the Super Bowl that day. So the people are going to be watching the Grizzlies take on the Celtics. And so I'm excited about it. I think this is going to be a fun little finish right here before we get to the All-Star break. And then after the All-Star break, it's on. We got 25 games at that point, I believe it is. And so not much movement is going to happen for 25 games because you have to have a lot of jockeying to happen. But there's a lot of teams that are under the Grizzlies that are kind of spread, a game or 2 apart. But the Grizzlies having a 3.5 game. I guess they're behind 3.5. Is that right? I believe that's what they were 3.5 behind Denver. And so them sitting there, I think that they're fine. Maybe not as much in the West. They have another 3.5 game ahead of Sacramento, who's losing as well to Dallas tonight. And so it's going to be fun. I'm excited. I don't know what else that the Grizzlies need to do besides try to make sure they get their rotations right, kind of implement Luke Kennard. And I think after that, man, it's going to be fun. We're getting ready to roll, boys.
They need to win the game. Play to win the game.
All right, let's get out of here. EJ, we can't thank you enough, man, for coming in through. We were a little bit later coming on, so I thought I'd throw it out there to see if we can get you on a little bit here. But make sure you go follow the Spaces Grizzlies. It's at Spaces Grizzlies. That's right, correct? Okay, perfect. Okay, follow at Spaces Grizzlies because they do a show every single game. After the game, first thing you want to do, you don't listen to Pete and Brev. You don't want to hear anybody else. Just go listen to EJ and his friends. We'll call them. But that's all we have, man. I can't thank you enough. It's going to be a blast. Can't wait for Super Bowl Sunday. Can't wait for the Grizzlies to go into Boston and get a dub. I love it. All right. That's all we got. Be nice and tell your friends.